Thanks for coming. I'm so excited. I requested a stool because I feel like awkward standing and talking to you. Like, I don't know. Makes me feel more laid back right now. So first off, thanks Shorty Awards for having me. This is my first time telling my story where it's not in a Q&A format. So hopefully you guys find it interesting. I feel like some of you guys follow me on Snapchat because I recognize your faces. It's pretty exciting. If you do, then you know that I'm going through this weird eye allergy right now. Oh, you're nodding your head. You do know. It's so bad. If I have this is so gross and not beauty expert but if I have pus coming on my eye right now, excuse it, because you guys just beware if you get lash extensions, they're not for everybody. So anyways, damn Daniel. Okay, yeah, so I'm Deepica, and I guess I still feel weird saying the word influencer. Whenever I go to these events, they're oh, what's your title? And I'm I don't know, but I guess what I officially say is an on-air beauty expert / YouTube personality. And so my whole career, I guess, started back literally since I was a kid. I was the girl reaching for a lipstick when my dad was trying to give me a stethoscope. I come from a very traditional South Asian family of all medical professionals, and my parents were born in India, and they came here hoping that their kids would have this life that they never had, and so I always had this pressure to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. Those were basically the three options. And so I really quickly told my dad that I am not going to do any of those things. And I think around 16, all I wanted to do was work at a mat counter. That to me was my dream job. If my South Asian parents would let me do that today, that is so fun to me, and I would wake up so passionate every single day. But I had to try to find a way to kind of merge my passion for the beauty industry with something that would kind of just make my parents, they're such a big part of my life, and I don't know if it's just an ethnic minority thing or something, but there's something about your parents being proud of you that is so important to me. So I knew I wanted to go down this career path, and my parents knew I was very stubborn from a very early age, so they knew I wasn't going to listen to them. But I wanted to find a way to make them proud too. So going into college, I was adamant about going to business school because that way I could learn the beauty side, the business side of beauty, and kind of work on the corporate end to eventually create my own product line, which was always the goal and dream, and it still is, and it's gonna happen. But I kind of just thought of it I had a very set plan for my life. I was gonna go to business school, work for L'Oreal, be a brand manager, go to Harvard Business School, and start a global beauty brand that was gonna take over the world. And that's how I went into college with that mindset. And so I did the first part. I went to business school. I went to University of Texas, Hook 'em Horns. Yes, yes. And I was in marketing major, and I did a case competition to go work for L'Oreal USA because see the lashes, I keep combing my strips right now because anyways. It's really hard being in Texas to get a job in New York City. I feel you have to be in New York to kind of land it. So I did what I could in my free time in college to do this case competition where I really got to take the opportunity to play the role of a brand manager for L'Oreal. They gave us an actual employee that was at the company and an ad agency, and we presented in front of the CEO of the company, the CMO of the company, all the top executives, and I won for my school, and then I got second place at nationals. Very full circle moment that'll come later, but we should have won that, and I'm not bitter. But I don't care if that's recorded, they would agree. And so I landed my summer internship because of that, winning that case competition. So I think the first thing and kind of lesson I learned really early on was that I had to make things happen for myself, and that's something that's kind of carried through to me today, because I was reaching out to every Indian contact I had to get a job at L'Oreal, and people are busy, so I had to try to do something very early on to make me stand out from everyone else. Why this girl in Texas? So I got the internship, did not get the full-time offer, and I was devastated. I was how can I be a brand manager and go to Harvard Business School and start my beauty line without L'Oreal behind me? And then I had an ego, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna work for Procter & Gamble or Estee Lauder, like their biggest competitors, and be like, show them like, sucks to suck. And then I think like, it just really like shows me how much like everything is like happens for a reason, because like, I went to go work for Victoria's Secret Corporate, and that's in Columbus, Ohio. Anyone raise your hand if you're from Columbus, Ohio? Great. So I don't think I was ever meant to live in Columbus, Ohio. Like you guys, I was so bored. And you know what? The difference is, I think going to college there, I could have totally done it. Like it was a college town. I think for someone like me who's always dreamt of like being in the Big Apple and like in this fast-paced life, like Columbus, Ohio just felt a little like, what? Yeah, you said it, not me. But it was also great because I had a lot of free time to figure out or like do something that I was passionate about. So I was an analyst at Victoria's Secret Corporate, and I started a blog on the side, tbt.skindeepblog.tumblr.com. Y'all should check it out. I still think the content is very good on there. And so I started that, and I started to blog for a Clinique, and it was I would go home so excited to do that. I would just do my 9 to 5 and then go home, write on this blog, and like look up startup companies that were like doing really well. Because in my mind, I always thought like, why do I have to be like 30 to start my company? Like, why is it that there has to be this like set age? Like, if you have a passion for something, like just do it. Like, I don't think there's rules around that. So I came across a company called Shoedazzle, and I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Yes. Okay. Cool. So I'm not gonna lie, I came across it because Kim Kardashian became the face of it, and like, I'm sorry, that's how a lot of things come to my, like, I discover a lot of things through her. And so the model of it was this idea of a personalized stylist who comes to you for $40 a month and picks a shoe for you. And I thought to myself, like, why doesn't that exist for the beauty industry? Like, that's so smart. Like, somebody should be telling you as a makeup artist, this works for you. Like, you fill out a survey and you get these products sent to your house. And so I called my cousin, who's like this big startup person in San Francisco, and I was like, why don't we start this? Like, I know the makeup side, you know the business side, you know the investor side, like, let's do it. I'm 22 at this point, by the way. And so like, I'm just like this girl with like all these dreams in the world, and he's like, let's do it. And literally, like, I think like a week later, he was like, did you even Google this before you asked me? I was like, why? He was like, that exists. It's this company called Birchbox, and they're crushing it. And I had already bought a URL, makeuptrunk.com. I still own it. I was like so full force moving forward with this. And I kind of just had this mindset when I looked them up that they really were crushing it. And it was these 2 female founders that were so impressive to me. They went to Harvard Business School, so my parents approved. And so it was this thing where I was like, if you can't beat them, join them. So I kind of went into it with the mindset of like, I want to learn everything I can from this business, but also from these like women. They were just so impressive. And I like myself want to be like a founder of a company, a female founder of a company. So I kind of just like thought about like, what's the worst case scenario? Keep in mind, I was 9 months into working at Limited Brands, which is the parent company for Victoria's Secret. So like, you know that rule of like, you're supposed to stay at a company for a year? Yeah, right? You're nodding your heads, but like, why is that a rule? Like, I think like, especially like when you're right out of college, it's like the time in my mind to take risks. Like, I feel like, if not then, like when? And so, I don't know, I guess I just had this gut moment where I was like, I gotta do this. So I kind of just made like a pros and cons list, and honestly, the worst case scenario still felt better than kind of just going through my day-to-day motions of living in Columbus, Ohio, working for Victoria's Secret. Granted, like that company is just so amazing, and I went into it thinking that I could move to their New York office, but when that became obvious that that wasn't going to happen, I just felt like I had to make it happen for myself. So I took the leap of faith, and you guys, it was a very scary leap. So just to put it into perspective, Limited Brands, one Victoria's Secret store, what they made in 1 week was how much Birchbox's total funding was. So like, if you like put it into like, at that point, so if you put it into like that perspective, it's like frightening. I'm not gonna cuss on this thing because it's being recorded, but shit, it was scary. And like, from my parents' perspective, and I took a pay cut, like I kind of just went with it thinking like, I have to invest in myself, and so I just did. And my parents were scared, but I'm not even kidding. They were just like, oh, wait, the founders went to Harvard? Oh, well, then you're going to go to Harvard. So, like, they felt a little better. It was literally, like, what made them, like, okay with it. I'm not even kidding. So they were semi on board. I mean, they were never on board with any of it, really. So they were semi on board. And I moved to New York, and I started working for Birchbox. And my job was like a marketing manager. So what I was doing was I was working for I was doing account management. So what that meant was, so do you guys know what Birchbox is, by the way? Okay, yes. Okay, awesome. And so what my job was to, brands give us samples. And whenever they gave us samples, it was my job to create a marketing campaign to show them like why it's so great to work with Birchbox. So that opened up so many relationships to beauty brands. Like I like met executives at like so many of those companies. So between that at Birchbox and working as an intern at L'Oreal, I had like this Rolodex of connections that I kind of just built through the years. And so one thing that was really great about working at a startup, and if you guys have the opportunity, I encourage everyone to, because I got to wear so many different hats. Like I was on the marketing team, but one of the editors randomly found skindeepblog.tumblr.com. I keep saying the name because you guys need to go check it out, because I still am so proud of how good it was, and it was so many years ago. Okay, anyways. And she found it, and she was like, do you want to write for us? And do you want to do blogging for us? And I was like, do I? And I secretly think that if, again, I felt like my family would have been okay with it, I would have wanted to be a beauty editor. That's so fun to me, and that's what I got to do at Birchbox, but my actual job was a marketing manager. So I got to kind of wear both hats, and then I started to do videos for Birchbox. And another really great thing about working at a startup was the relationship with the founders. I had regular meetings with Katya, who's one of the co-founders, who she really, really cared about my career trajectory. She really did. I could tell she felt invested, and she wanted me to leave Birchbox feeling like I had an amazing experience. And I think it's one of those things that if you show that you're investing in their company, then they want to invest in you back. So I feel like I proved that to her. And so she went out of her way to coach me. And I told her my dream in life has always been to have my own beauty product line. And she said, okay, well, we're going to eventually start doing product development in-house at Birchbox, and I am happy to put you on that team so you can learn how to build your own product line. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Huh? You're just handing me this dream opportunity to create a beauty product line. Yes, it was for Birchbox, but I would be learning all the ins and outs, and I wanted to be take that, L'Oreal. And it was this moment of oh my God, everything really does happen for a reason, because that experience is something I can't imagine getting anywhere else. So that is exactly what eventually happened. I think we're now at year year two at Birchbox, and I started to do that, and I helped launch their first 3 in-house brands, which is so cool, because I got to work with manufacturers, I got to pick the products, I got to launch the products, and learn about every in and out of doing that. So as I was doing that, it was an amazing experience. I started to grow a social following, because it just started to happen. I think there aren't many South Asian girls doing what I'm doing, and so with the help of Birchbox's kind of user base, it kind of positioned me as this I hate the word influencer, but South Asian influencer in the beauty space. And so I kind of just I kind of saw it as a hole in the market, and I wanted to make the leap, but honestly, I made excuses. I made excuses always. I was I don't have time, I don't know how to use a camera, I don't know anything about YouTube, so I just kept doing it with Birchbox. And then I started to work on their influencer program, and they asked me, they were hey, what South Asians do you follow? And I couldn't think of anyone. I was there isn't anyone I follow. So at this point, this was December of last year, and I just said to myself, this is silly. I need to just try. And so I woke up. Am I messing up the dates? January of 2015. We're in 2016, right? Yeah, okay, so January 2015 is when that happened. And I woke up and I started a YouTube channel. And the second video I did, I filmed on my iPhone. Am I over time? Oh, God bless you.
Give you more wine.
Thank you.
Loudly in the corner. I'm really sorry.
Oh my God, you get me. Thank you. I feel like I drink more wine than water sometimes. Anyways, okay, so where was I? Oh, 2015. Oh yeah, so I started my YouTube channel, and the second video I did, I filmed on my iPhone. Again, like, I kept making every excuse, you guys. Like, I've never used YouTube, like uploading a video. I didn't have any fancy pants equipment. I live in New York City where there's not much natural lighting, which is like honestly the biggest struggle, because like LA bloggers have it so easy. Can I just say that? Like, there's light everywhere. Like, I have to like get into the corner of, I mean, if you follow me on Snapchat, you know, like I literally live in a 400 square foot dungeon, so like it's like an issue. But anyways, the point is it didn't matter, because that was all secondary to like what I was actually sharing. Like, the tip itself was the most important part of it. And so I did this video where I used red lipstick under my eyes to mask dark circles. This was a tip that I had just learned because I was working in the beauty industry for 5 years, and makeup artists were using color correctors under my eyes. And I was like, what are you doing putting red lipstick under my eyes? And they were like, it's not red lipstick, it's like a beauty artist trick. We've been doing it for decades, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, well, what's the difference? And she was like, I mean, really nothing. And so I just did it, and I like made a video about it, not thinking it was revolutionary. And then it got picked up by BuzzFeed, and before I knew it, like when it got picked up by BuzzFeed, I was at my desk, and one of my coworkers like chatted me, and she was like, oh my God, you're on BuzzFeed, you're going viral. And to be honest, like I didn't like fully understand what being on BuzzFeed meant and how much it could really change your life until like I was on it. And then I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So don't judge me, it was actually really efficient and smart, but I set up a Google alert for my name because I just kept waking up and seeing my name on all of these major publications like Refinery and like Teen Vogue and all of these things. And I was like, oh my God, like how do I keep up with these things? So I set up a Google alert, and I would just wake up, and this was in like a 2-week period, just wake up every single day, and it was Vogue India, Cosmo UK, Elle Spain, Daily Mail, like boom, 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 boom. And I didn't know how to handle it. I was like, what is happening? I just went back to my desk at Birchbox and was like typing away and like launching products. And I just felt so awkward. It was just weird. And then the Today Show emailed me, and I think that like changed my life forever. Like my heart stopped, it fell to my stomach, and I was like, is this really happening? I'm gonna be Juliana Rancic. And I like had this moment of like, this is like my like start to like my dream career that I never knew could actually happen. Like, you know when you're a kid and you like have these like fantasy dream careers, you're like, I'm gonna be Britney Spears and I'm gonna be like blah, blah. Mine was like, I wanna be like a host on TV, and it just felt like there wasn't anybody who looked like me doing it, so like how could I do it? And so when they asked me to come on, I quit my job that day, which was like, thinking about it now, it's like, what the were you thinking? Yeah, I know. Because I could have sucked, right? Like, I've never done national television in my life, and I could have been terrible. But it was like a gut feeling of like, if it's not now, it's never. And like, I never wanted to like look back and say, what if? I like, in my mind thought, again, I went back to that same concept for when I left Victoria's Secret of like, what's the worst case scenario? And mine was like wondering what if. And so I decided I needed to do it. And then I did the Today Show, and luckily I did not suck, thank God. And so it was a really surreal experience because my dad and sister came with me, which I've told you guys like 10 times now, like my parents like mean everything to me, and having them be there and see what like me on live television, it was just like, my dad was sitting next to Kid Rock in like the waiting room. Which, by the way, hands down the best part of the entire experience. He had no idea who it was, and Kid Rock like looked at him and did a head nod. It was like really, really ridiculous. And everyone on set was so nice to him. He was so nervous being back there, like taking pictures, like so proud. And they were like, come on, Dad, like take pictures, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't nervous. Like I literally felt like I was meant to do it. And I felt like, this is so silly. I was listening to that Eminem song, Lose Yourself. I swear, I got asked in an interview the other day, like, what song, like, reminds you of your life? And it really was that, because it was like, you only have one shot, one opportunity. And I really felt that way. I was like, this is my 3 minutes to show people that I was meant to be on TV, and I was gonna do something and, like, game change this, like, world. And so after the segment was done, it was, like, such a rush. And there was like the two people that ran in, and it was like the producer I've been working with and then somebody behind her. And I was like, oh my God, that was so fun, let's do it again. And like this girl behind her was like, you should do it again. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she was like, hi, I'm blah, 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 I'm a senior producer here at the Today Show. We'd love to have you back. And I was like, whoa, like that was something I like dreamt of happening out of that moment, but I didn't actually like imagine it actually would, and then it did, and it turned into like another segment, which turned into a regular segment, and now I'm like one of their like tastemakers, and the only one under 30, the only one that's South Asian, like it's just crazy, and now it's like I'm doing it in 2 weeks, and it's kind of just like this thing where like anytime I pitch them an idea, I go on, and it's a dream come true for me, and what I realize is that simultaneously as I'm trying to build this like on-air sort of career, I have this YouTube audience who is like the reason I have a career. And so I am really passionate about growing that, and that's not something that's ever gonna change. Like, I truly do feel like the people in this room that I've seen at multiple like meet and greets of mine, which is so awesome, is like that's the only reason I can do these things. So I need to continue the YouTube thing. But like you guys, I'm not lying when I say I don't know anything about production. Like I don't know anything about production. I was like, every time I see this reel, like I laugh because it's like you see how it's like changed and progressed, because like I'm still learning how to like use these things. I can't help but like look at other YouTubers' reels right now and like their videos and be like, oh my God, it's so well produced. And shout out to this guy in the front right here, Brandon, who has been, I went to the YouTube space, so like once you have access to, it's 5,000 subs, you get access to the YouTube space in New York. And I like walked in there and I was like, oh my God, you have access to all the equipment, anything you want, like the most fancy pants cameras, which just gave me like stress. Like I was like, there's all these buttons and everything, and I was like, I just want to play with makeup. And like, there was all this other stuff that went into it, and I was like, I use an iPhone, like I can't. And he has been amazing, and we just met because we were sitting next to each other, and literally taught me so many things, helped develop my my end card, and like just being so helpful. So he's the best. Can we clap for him, because he's awesome. Literally like changed my life, means the world. So I started to do that, but then eventually I was like, you know what, I really want to like understand this. Like this is my business, I have to understand this. I'm a full-time YouTuber now. And so I invested in some equipment, and so now I do it in my apartment. I hope you guys can see that I'm like trying to make them better, because it's still a work in progress, but I'm getting there. So now, in my mind, even though I'm really passionate about building myself as like an on-air person, I, no matter what, am trying to maintain this cadence of weekly YouTube videos, because I have so many ideas. Like people ask me, what do you think of ideas? Like, aren't you scared you're gonna like run out? And that is the last concern of mine. Like, there's so many thoughts in my mind of things I wanna do, and you guys tell me things that you wanna see, and so between all of that, I make like a list, and it's just more about bandwidth, and I'm the worst editor. Like, if anyone knows an editor, please tell me. I'm looking, it's like I'm not good, and it's tough though, because I don't feel like anyone, like no one can help you get your voice across but you, and so it's one of these like tough battles of like, you wanna do so much, but you also wanna do the best at what you're doing, so I always have that like constant struggle. So one thing that's really interesting is that like, I still do wanna have that beauty product line, and I'm going to have it. But my focus right now is to build myself as a personal personality. So when I do have this product line, it's like, hey, all my amazing like followers, like I want to create a line that's because of all of you. Like you're the ones who like helped like create this. Growing up, I like felt like I never had products that work for my skin tone. Like I have to mix colors together all the time, and I think that's ridiculous. And so my dream has always been to create a line that's like meant for like all skin tones. And so that is something which I think will happen sooner than I think. I'm putting it out of the universe. My new thing is like manifesting things into reality, because at the end of last year, I said I want to be an e-news host, and like literally at the end of last year, that's what I said. When my friends were like, what's your biggest goal for next year? And I was like, I want to be like the brown Juliana Rancic. Like I want to be interviewing celebrities on a red carpet and like be the first South Asian e-correspondent. And I was on E! Tonight, and like it's on right now, which is so crazy. I know, it's so weird. Hey, it's weird. I entered this competition, and this again goes back to that thing of, you have to make it happen for yourself. Like, I could have easily had this ego of like, the Today Show is a part of NBC Universal, which E! Entertainment is also a part of. So like, I could have been like, oh, well, E! will come to me. I am now an Today Show tastemaker. And like, the world doesn't work that way. Let me just tell you, like, it does not work that way. You have to show that like you want this more than everyone else wants this. And I submitted for an audition. Like it was a contest, and it went from like 1,000 to 250 to 15 to 8, and now it's to 4. And so that's what aired tonight, to show that like I made it to the top 4. And whoever wins, we go to Miami Fashion Week, and whoever wins that gets to be the E! News correspondent for New York Fashion Week, which would be crazy. I would die. I would freak out. So. I think like this all in, how, am I talking too much? Like, where am I? Okay. Oh, great, okay. Perfect. I think like the biggest thing that I kind of learned in this past year, oh my God, so many things. Like, I consider myself a female entrepreneur. I went from living with my best friend, working in an office of a bunch of girls that were all really close friends of mine, and I was in a relationship, to being single, living alone in a 400 square foot apartment, and working for myself. And that was so scary. It was a lot of alone time, and it's a lot of time to it's a lot of self-reflection, and it's a lot of realizing that how much self-motivation you have to have. Like, I had no idea how much like willpower I had for my own career, and like you really discover the ambition you have within yourself, because it's so easy to just stay in bed. Like my apartment's my office. And I mean, on a Monday, I could wake up at noon, but it's, when you keep getting these people and supporters, I get these emails, this guy right here. I mean, there's people in the audience that I have emails that I'm getting from that like are telling me I inspire them, and they didn't go to med school because of me. God, your parents must hate me for that. Oh my God, so much. But I don't feel bad about it, because I really, okay, that's a sign to drink, sorry. I feel like I am proud of that, because I feel like you should go for your dreams. And I think that like, because of the world we live in, people feel like they can't because there isn't someone that looks like them doing it. And I felt that way growing up, which is why Be Your Own Princess was so important to me. I don't know if you haven't seen it. Basically, I transform into 4 Disney princesses, and I start as Jasmine, because that's who I was always told my whole life I was supposed to be, because I look like her. And then I turn into Cinderella, and then I turn into Ariel, and then at the end I turn into a prince. Because I feel like who gets to like define for you who you get to be? Like you get to decide that. And it was really important and personal to me to say like, be yourself, and whoever that is, that's okay. And because like growing up in high school, I had blonde hair, colored contacts, avoided the sun because I wanted to be like fair, which is so funny, right? Because like everyone else wants to be like tan, and I like love my skin color now, but growing up I wanted to look like everyone that was around me. And the irony of all of that is that what makes me stand out in my profession right now, and truly the reason I think I have a career, is because of all those things that make me different. And so I guess like my biggest piece of advice to people who are like, where do I begin? Just start. Don't worry about perfection. Perfection will come. And if it doesn't come, like perfect's kind of annoying anyways. Like, who wants to be like perfect? I mean, imperfections, that there's this Marilyn Monroe quote that's like, imperfection, yeah.
It was my Instagram post today, yeah.
I feel like it was like my Insta bio for like 4 years, because it's just like such an amazing quote. It was like, imperfection is, I forget. Yeah. Look it up, it's a great quote. But it's about the beauty in imperfections. You're like pulling it up right now, aren't you? Yeah. Perfect, great. But it really just focuses on the beauty of imperfections. And I truly, truly believe in that, because I have 10 million views on a video that I filmed on my iPhone that has launched my entire career. So I fully believe in the focus on authenticity over anything else, and being yourself. It's really easy to fall into these traps. Like, I am not your typical YouTuber. I am not a makeup artist. I'm just a girl who's passionate about beauty and love product. And so my makeup looks aren't these like slayed like 10 layers of like foundation on foundation, on concealer, on baking, on contouring, on highlighting, on every other trend in the world. It's about simplifying it for the everyday girl who just wants to learn how to like walk out the door and feel good about herself. And that's scary because I feel like the girls that I see that are growing really quickly and rapidly are doing certain types of looks. But you know what? I think about like what my goals are and my like career path and what I want to do. I would rather grow slow and be in it for the long run than focus on the short run and not be myself. Like, I truly think it's better to like fail as yourself than like try to be somebody else and succeed. Because it's just like, then what in 20 years when you're like reflecting on everything, you know? And so that's my mindset. We'll see if it pans out in 20 years, but it's working for me so far. And I don't know, I just feel like the biggest thing that I learned when I was so stressed out about everything happening, like I was very fortunate that there was all these opportunities coming my way, like dream opportunities. And because I had all these brand contacts, they all were reaching out about partnerships, and I'm so grateful for all of it. But the biggest piece of advice I got was to like write it down on paper. I got that from Haley Barna, actually, the Birchbox CEO, co-founder. And she was like, write it down. Like, what do you see yourself doing for the next 5 years? Put it on paper, make a vision board for it. I can't even tell you how much better I slept at night, like having that down on paper, because it just kind of makes you realize what your goals are. So now anytime that you get approached with like an opportunity, anytime you get kind of you think about like, where is it do you see yourself, you can always go back to your vision board and those goals and say, is this gonna help me get there? And that has helped me like cut out, like turn down opportunities, which I never thought I would be doing, but you need to sometimes cut out distractions. But at the end of the day, I feel like you are the only person who's gonna know how to pave that path for you, and nobody else is gonna be able to do it. And that to me has been like the biggest kind of day I wake up, it's like a mantra I tell myself. So I feel like that, I feel like that's my advice. I had something really wise I was gonna say at the very end of this. But now I don't remember. It's the wine, it's actually your fault, not mine. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope that was interesting, I guess. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here.
That's great. Well, thanks so much.
Was
we got
it?
time for some questions. I'll take the liberty of asking the first, which
Okay.
is just like going from, and you talked a little bit about just like what it really means when you go off on your own, but going from working at big companies and even a startup where you walk in the office and there's just a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah.
What have been like your biggest kind of learnings on like what it really means when you're off on your own to like kind of win it every day and manage yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, this is something that I was really guilty of not doing, and like my best friend who's here, she always like yells at me because you don't ever take the time to count the wins. So something that I've been doing, and I just started doing, was like every day writing down like 3 things that went really well in that day, because I still am not good about sleeping, but I feel like I'm okay with it because I love what I do, and when you love what you do, you know that saying, like it's just like, it just makes it all worth it. But you never have like a stopping point, and I feel like because you feel like there's nobody on your team, like when I was at a corporate company, even at a startup, there's a team to support you. Like you can go on vacation and somebody can cover you. Like there is no vacation when you work for yourself. There's no weekends when you work for yourself. You're working 24/7. But like, I love it. Like, so what if I have to film a video on my Saturday afternoon while my friends are brunching? Like, I'm filming a video and playing with makeup. Like, life could be worse. And so it's one of those, it's just like, yes, I get to go to these like fabulous events and stuff, but I'm editing at 2 in the morning because I can't do it during the day or at night. So it's like one of those things that you really have to understand and kind of create a schedule for yourself. It took me a long time to figure that out because I was just kind of going through the day by day, and now it's like, okay, my filming day is this. All my meetings are gonna be on this day. I'm gonna like only attend these events. I don't need to attend all of these events. So I really, self-motivation is the biggest thing. And this is advice that I give myself all the time, is like, you have to believe in what you're doing yourself, because if you do, like everyone around you is going to believe it, and they're just gonna like get intoxicated by what you're saying. And then it's just all gonna like fall into place. Like, oh, you're gonna be on E! News. My friends are like, ha ha ha. And they're like, wait, is she gonna be on E! News? and then I am. So it's like one of those things. Speak it into reality. I really do believe that. But I don't go. What your question was about something about corporate? Oh yeah. Okay, so I went on a tangent. Sorry, but
Actually, should you spend Saturday afternoon having brunch?
boozy brunches are a waste of calories and time. Go, like, well, because you know what the hard part is? We're all working. So true, right? Exactly. I feel like the thing is, okay, don't get me wrong. You guys see me on Snapchat. I do it every once in a while. Like, you gotta like live a little bit. But I think the biggest thing is like a lot of you probably work Monday through Friday, and so you're like, okay, how can I go for my passion if I'm working a full-time day job? And it's like you take the weekends to do it. You just do. It's like if you love it, it's like your friends will understand, and it's really just about being self-motivated and telling yourself like, what do you want more? Like if you're envisioning yourself from a year from now, do you want to keep saying, I wish I would have blah, 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 blah. Like I was at L'Oreal wishing I started a YouTube channel when I was watching Michelle Phan, but I just kept wishing it and wishing it. If I had started then, I'd probably be at like 10 billion YouTube subscribers. You know, so it's like, but then I started and it's like all worked out. So like don't ever look back and wonder what if, and just get started. Again, I don't know if I answered your question.
More questions from the crowd.
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Can you say your name?
I'm Serena.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.
Of course. So, first question. The first few videos that you did on your phone, etc., were you also sharing those widely within your existing networks? And can you talk more about the BuzzFeed pickup?
Oh,
And
yeah.
The second question is, do you feel pressure? Like, obviously, you have an interest in the beauty space. Like, do you feel pressure to only create content in that? What happens if you have interest in other sectors? Like, how do you divvy that up?
Good questions. So first on the BuzzFeed part, I still cannot believe, I have a really good story about the BuzzFeed thing, because it got picked up by BuzzFeed and I had no clue how. And it was just like blowing up, 100,000 views, million view, now at 10. I was getting my hair done at a hair salon, and there was a BuzzFeed shoot going on next to me. And I am annoying, and I went up to him, I was like, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt this shoot to say, can you please introduce me to the girl who wrote this story about red lipstick under the eyes? Like, I have to meet her. And she was like, that was me. And I was like, oh my God, you changed my life. And we had this huge heart-to-heart, and I was like, I started to cry. I was like, no, but really, you changed my life. Like, if I even talk about it now, I'll get emotional, because this girl, Augusta Folletta, she had no idea when she wrote about this how much it would change everything for me. And like, I was like, because of you, I quit my job, I was on the Chase show, blah, blah, blah. And now we're friends, and we like work together, and it's like, this like network I've continued to build just because I got up and went and said hi, like didn't have any shame. So I asked her, how did you find my video? And she said she saw someone tweet about it. And this is what I truly do believe. I believe that, so when I posted the video, Birchbox posted it on their Facebook. I don't actually know the real root of it, but I'm grateful that Birchbox posted it on their Facebook page, and then so I think that helped the reach get out there. And so somebody had tweeted it that she follows, and she saw it and she was like, wait, what, lipstick where? And it picked it up. It's like, you never know who's looking at your stuff. You never know. That Augusta Folletta is like a legit friend of mine now, and we do stories together. It's crazy. And the pressure. Yes, because you know why I love Snapchat? I love just being able to like talk. Like I like talking. And so I sometimes, like, you know how there's YouTubers who just like do challenges, and they're just personalities. They're not like doing makeup. They're just like, they're doing them. And like that to me sounds like so fun and awesome. Like I want to do vlogs. I want to do fashion stuff. I want to do having guests on. I want to like show that I can be a host and things like that. But I have this feeling of like, wait, but people follow me for makeup tips. Like, is that going to do well? So this is what I think of that whole thing. You always want to like cater to your audience, but you always want to leave a 10% to be able to be creative. So what I do is 3 weeks out of the month, I do makeup tutorials, and then I let myself, or beauty tutorials, and then I let myself in that last 10% test things out. Because like I want to be able to see like, well, maybe people do want to see what I'm wearing, and maybe people do want to see me talk to like the founder of the Shorty Awards, and like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, you're here, so I had to like say that was an invite. So I think that it's important to test things out. Like I still feel like I'm just starting my career. Like this is just the beginning. It's been a year, and I have the rest of my life to do it. So testing is always important. That was something I learned at working at a startup. It's you're constantly testing things and figuring out what works and what doesn't. Did I answer your question? Because I don't feel like I answered his. Okay, good. Any others?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Red.
Hi.
For Rebecca. So what does your day-to-day look like in terms of setting the schedule? I mean, are
Good
you
question.
up at 5 a.m. or?
So I'm like up till 5 a.m. It's like okay, you know how, God, being an early bird is like my dream. I am still working towards that goal because I know it's good to be, but I guess one of the benefits of working for yourself is that you can make your own schedule. Like you can decide your hours, which is pretty awesome. Like I'm like that annoying girl who goes to the gym in the middle of the day, but like I'm also editing until like 4 in the morning. So I think like everyone has to figure out what schedule works for them. Like I don't believe in this like cookie cutter thing of like, you're supposed to go to the gym at 5 in the morning, you're supposed to like do this by this many hours of the day and whatever. Like I think that everyone is programmed and functions differently, and you have to find what works for you. So it took me a year to figure out what works for me. And so now I have this like kind of regimen, which by the way is consistently evolving, which you have to be open to doing when you're your own boss and like an entrepreneur. Like I don't know, like if tomorrow E! News is like, hey, we want you to be a regular correspondent, I'm gonna move my Monday shoot day to Tuesday. Like you have to like be open to things like that. But it is important because, like I said, like on a Monday I could just wake up and just be sleeping. To tell yourself, like, think of a phone meeting as like a meeting in person, and so like you're actually getting up and you're like being fully charged and you're doing your coffee or like whatever it is that your morning routine is. So like I have a lot of Skype meetings and like with LA and things like that, but I still get up and I like shower and I move from my bed to my couch at least, or I go to coffee shops and work, because otherwise it doesn't feel, it's too easy to get caught up in like staying at home. So for me, it's like my actual, if you want to know, Monday is my shoot day. Tuesdays are my meeting days. Wednesdays is my like be creative day. Like on that day, I literally have like get creative and just start filming and playing with things. Like Monday, I have like a content calendar now where it's like these videos every single week. But then on Wednesday, I have this day where I play with all the products I get, because that is so important. Like you don't want it to just be a business. Like I'm in this because I like love makeup, and things and ideas like viral videos come from just like playing with product and being passionate about what you're doing. Because I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and being like, what's your next viral video? It's like, if I could predict it, don't you think I would have made like 10 of those by now? Like, are you kidding? And so I have a creative day, and then Friday is my posting day. And it's just, and then Thursday is another meeting day. I do Tuesday, Thursday. And then Saturday, Sunday, I don't know. That's just, I somehow still find myself working. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Natasha. So we all heard you say what song got you through this pivotal moment in your life.
Would you have guessed Lose Yourself? I feel like work would have been like a better answer.
So what book is it that got you to, learn what you learned? Is there a specific book that you read?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple books. I am going to fully admit that I'm not like a reader. Like I wasn't somebody who grew up for fun reading Harry Potter. That wasn't like to me enjoyable, but now I love reading books from like female entrepreneurs and women who inspire me. I've been reading, I read a lot of their books. Like the very first one it was the founders of Guilt Group, and it was called Deluxe. And that they came to the office at Birchbox, and that was the first time I started to be like, wow, like I should read more. And I'm like I fully admit, like I read articles and stuff, but books, like in your free time, just to pick up a book and say, I can learn something from these women. Like to me, I'm just like so motivated by female entrepreneurs. So reading books written by them, obviously like the Sheryl Sandberg Lean In, but like Deluxe to me was the very first one, because she came into the office and she like talked about it, and she talked about the hardships of a startup. And I was at a startup that was literally on the rise, going up. And for her to talk about like the failures and when they hit like peaks and how they handled it was something that really like hit home to me. I was like, wow, they talk about like the struggles too. I want to read this because I want to be prepared when Birchbox is at that point. And after that, I just kept like reading books from female entrepreneurs, and I encourage you to do the same, because it's like and like different ones too. Like when I say that, I don't mean just businesswomen, like Mindy Kaling, why not me? Like that to me, isn't it so good? Because I feel like it's the perfect balance of humor, but also so inspirational, because it's like, I made a video like a year ago, pre that coming out, for the record, and it was like, why not, it was called Why Not Me, and it was just me talking about, like, for so long people were like, okay, Deepica, how are you gonna be the one in the million? It's like, why can't I be the one in the million? Like, I totally can, and I'm going to, and that book like really emphasized to me, like, why not me? Look at her now, she has her own show. So personally for me, it's books written by female girl bosses.
I'm guessing you read that one too.
Duh.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Megan. Nice to meet you. When it comes to brand partnerships and kind of stuff you're doing with brands, how do you balance staying true to yourself and still meeting what the brand is looking for you to meet and develop those line items?
In the beginning, when I didn't have like a schedule, I said yes to every brand partnership, and I found myself doing videos like secondarily, and it was like, oh my God, like I have to do weekly videos, but my whole week has been like, when I started my job, I was my own manager, assistant, agent, publicist, lawyer. I didn't even have one of those, which is not a good idea, by the way. I was my whole team, and so me going to these meetings was me being my own publicist. I was like, I have to go out there and like pitch myself, like nobody else is doing this. But at the end of the day, like instead of me going to all these meetings and like trying to like get all these people to work with me and fight for that, it was like what I realized was the first thing I have to focus on is building the content itself, because then all these brands come to you. What you also realize is how many brands who are, by the way, figuring out this whole space of influencers in real time. Like it's so still fresh and new, and everyone's trying to understand where it's gonna be and like what the evolution of it is. So they try to insert their brand voice onto you, and I have said no to be honest, I went through one deal where I didn't say no to it because I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this brand. Oh my God, this is such a huge opportunity, and I did it because I love the brand. Did I love the product? No. And I will never do that again, and I swear I actually admitted to it on Snapchat that I did this, because I was like, it is so important to stay true to your voice and like what you truly love. And I think for the short term, again, like influencers who are looking in the short run will do it because it's a paycheck and it's this kind of transactional sort of thing. But I want to be like a global beauty brand, and I don't want it to be about an Instagram post, a YouTube video. I want it to be about building an audience of people who truly trust me. So if I'm going to talk about a product and I don't actually love it and they go buy it, that's a long tail thing that's just not worth whatever paycheck they're giving me. So I now have said no to a lot of brand partnerships that I feel like if you heard the brand, you'd be like, what? But the product I didn't believe in, and it was like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's my biggest piece of advice. Like, stay true to your brand and your voice. Hi.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Bethany.
Hi, Bethany.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I do work for a startup in marketing, so it's interesting that you said that. And I'm an
Cool.
actor as well, and trying to build my
Oh my God,
personal
amazing.
brand.
Wow.
But I struggle to find that balance of like making sure this company is successful, but also making sure that I'm successful and
Yeah.
what my dreams are. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean.
Any advice you can for
Yeah. Oh my God, we should totally talk after this. I have a lot of advice. Yeah, it's tough because you don't want the company you're working for to ever feel like you're slacking in what you're doing, or you're not prioritizing your job, and it's like you have a reputation, which I know you do, of being like a rock star at the company, and it's like then they start to see you like winning Oscars, and it's like, what's going on? But it's tough. It's obvious. It's gonna happen. Check. It's so hard. At the end of the day, and you're at a startup, the founders of the company recognize it's a startup and recognize that you're there because you have things you want to learn from the company and you're interested in the company. And I was very fortunate enough to where, like at Birchbox, like they encouraged this idea. Haley Barna always said, Birchbox is like a tree, and you're all acorns. You're all gonna fall into the world and share your wisdom with everybody. And I was like, I love you, Haley. Like that just makes you feel better about like pursuing things that you're interested in. And it's tough, but like I said, like the main times that I would like film my videos were Saturday mornings. Monday nights at 11 o'clock, like I would get like a mirror with a light because I couldn't afford I wasn't thinking I needed to invest in a ring light or anything, and did it then. And it was tough, but I kind of just did it under the radar. I never did it during work hours because I never wanted there to be like a reason somebody came back to me and said like she's not invested in her job, because that is really important. But if you really wanted it, you make the time outside of your job and still crush it. It's exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, it is, but it's worth it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi, my name is Akira.
Hey, Kara.
I was wondering, like, coming from a family that expects you to fulfill this certain type of future,
Yeah.
was
Like
there
drinking
a
that.
certain moment or point where you just said, like, all right, enough is enough, I'm not hearing no, like, this is what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, I'm about to share a really personal story. Okay, so when I quit my job at Birchbox, I didn't tell my family because I didn't want them, I know, crazy, right? I didn't want them to feel like they had to worry about me, which I know that's what my parents do like all the time. And I didn't want them to also feel like that I had to be financially dependent on them. I was like, I'm gonna do this on my own, I'm gonna figure it out, and I also wanted to show them that I could do it on my own, and I did not have to be a doctor to be successful. And I went home that weekend though, after I quit my job, because I needed like a mental zen weekend. They still didn't know I quit my job. I just went home, and I swear the Indian grapevine, they found out so quick, so quick. I like get home, my dad's like, come into the study room. And I swear I thought I was getting shipped off to India in an arranged marriage, and like I was so sure that like they had a husband picked out for me and everything. And I get there, and my dad is like sitting in like the study room chair, and he's like, here, and he like hands me this like check, and he's like, don't think of this as me giving my daughter money, think of it as me investing in someone I believe in. And I cried a lot. I didn't take it. I got really dramatic. I like almost tore it, and I was like, I know, you just saying that is enough. And like it was one of those moments, but at the end of the day, what you have to remember is that your parents just want you to be happy. And if they come from traditional backgrounds, it's not that they don't believe in you or what you're trying to do. This is what I truly believe with my parents, is that they just don't know anything else, and they want to be able to provide you with the best opportunities possible, and they just don't know how that's going to be possible in something they've never seen before. So it's like kind of up to us to show them that it is possible. And like now, I mean, don't get me wrong, every once in a while I go home, he's like, it's not too late to study for the MCATs, but I still do think that he's very proud of me, and in a way that's different from me. Like my dad would text me and be like, oh my God, you're on the Comcast homepage. And I was like, I'm in Vogue India. Like, why? Comcast.com is like, it's just like they have very different like benchmarks in there. I don't know, I guess he could brag to his friends about Comcast. But when they start to see your success, and I met Lily Singh, and I actually asked her the same question, and Lily Singh, big YouTuber, billboards everywhere. I think everyone, okay. She said to me that at this point her dad gets it, because if you read the Forbes article, the girl's brinking in $4 million a year. So she basically has said essentially the same thing. It's like they just want to know you're going to be okay. And it's up to you to show that to them. And there's gonna be this weird, awkward, hard period where it was like really tough. Like even when I went on the Today Show, my dad was like, that's cool, but how are you making money? And so like, and it's not even him just being like, it's just him being concerned. Like he wants to know that down the road when he can't be there to support me, like I'm gonna be okay. And I truly think like he fully believes that I'm gonna be okay. And I don't know, there's something about your dad saying he's proud of you, like, that just makes you die. And he said it that day, and I was like, okay, life done. Accomplishments made. Yeah. Hi.
This will be our last question.
Oh, okay. Make it good, girl.
No pressure.
I like your bun. Is there a sock in your hair?
No.
It's so good.
Thank you.
Wow. I love a good sock bun.
Okay, so who's on your team now that you're getting so big and getting like invited to these big events? Like, who's on your team, and how do you decide what events you go to, and how is that process like? Just tell us about that.
So last June, So as I was like being my own publicist, manager, agent, like I had an email that was like info at, but like I was responding to them. It's like all about perceptions, reality, and for a while, like ASST assistant at was me, like answering it. But it was one of these things that like it's fake it till you make it, and I live to that to this moment. You walk into places like you're meant to be there. You answer emails like you're supposed to be at that event, and then everyone else is like, dang, maybe she is supposed to be there. And I started to do that for a while, but in the meantime, I was like talking to I had managers approaching me. You know, with YouTubers, there's a lot of managers and MCNs, these like, that's a whole other world of discussion we could talk about. But they approach you, and I was just scared. There's all these contracts involved, and it's like, they take percentages, and it's like, I felt like I understood the business side. I was like, I came from corporate. Like, I don't need someone to do this for me. I can do it. But what I realized at the end of last year was, I know I can do it, but I need to focus at what I'm good at and how I'm going to grow my business. And that meant letting go of my emails. And that was really tough for me because these are all my brand contacts. These are my friends. These are the people that I built a network around for my whole life. And I had to let go of that and let a manager step in to answer those for me, because what I need to be focused on, because it's the most important thing, is content. And I now have him answer the emails for me. And something to note about finding that manager is I went through 2 that were not the right fit for me to find him. And how I got him to be my manager and how I knew he was the one was that I had just been working with him I was going to him as an advisor. And I was just like, any brand email I got that I didn't know the answer to, I would just forward it to him and be like, hey, he was like, if you have any questions, just call me. I called the shit out of him, like all the time. And I thought it was annoying, but he actually found it really interesting. And he thought like, wow, like there's really something to what this girl is building. Like there isn't a South Asian girl doing what she's doing. Like there's a space for this. Like this could be big. And so he like, after 9 months of me kind of hinting at like, when are you just gonna make this official? Ha 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 ha. And I think the difference was the first 2 seeked me out versus it was me going for him. I was like, you are the one that I think is gonna take me to the next level. And it was a gut feeling. I am such a firm believer of like going with your intuition and like what your gut tells you. And I had this feeling of like he was it. And then I called him once about like a brand deal. I was like, what would you do? Like, would you increase the blah, blah, blah? I don't want to get taken advantage of. And he was like, it was like 1 in the morning his time, 4 in the morning my time, he's in LA. And he was like, the next morning he emailed me and he was like, I was thinking about our 1 a.m. conversation. And I really believe in what you're doing and I want to make this official. So that is why I feel very comfortable. And there's no contract involved. He was like, I feel like you can leave whenever you want to leave and vice versa. And I think that's an important thing to know. Like, really think about it before you sign anything. And this is the lawyer in me, because I was a lawyer for myself for a while. And it's just important that you really feel good about your team. So I have a manager now, and I just got an actual like part-time employee who's gonna help with photography. If you follow my Instagram, she's the girl that's been taking pictures for me, and now she's gonna be like coming onto my team and like helping me with like the project managing side of things, because I really just wanna focus on content, like and editing, content editing, and that's what I wanna do. So I guess I have like 2 people now, and I have like an agent that steps in if she brings deals my way, but honestly, I am very proud to say that everything I've done thus far has been via like inbound, like people contacting me through just like my hustle and grind, which is like pretty exciting, but I welcome other opportunities.
Let's give it up for you.
Broadway has the Tonys, Hollywood has the Oscars, and now social media has the Shorties.
Welcome everyone to the 7th annual Shorty Awards.
The Shorties are by far the most prestigious.
We are so proud to be part of the Shorty Awards.
Thank you, Shorty Awards.
Thank you for doing that. That was pretty cool.
I get a call, I gotta be at the Shorty Awards.
I'll speak from the heart.
Wow, that was awesome.
There is not a more passionate fan base out there.
Hi friends, what's up?
Thanks for the Best Singer Award, I really appreciate it.